how's it going? This is Anthony from West Coast Custom Concrete. We're going to discuss today the prices of a skid steer business, the equipment you need, how much investment, how to charge, how to name your business. There's so many things we'll go over in this video. I've done this for a long time, so I'm super experienced at it. And we'll talk about this opposed to going to college or doing something like that or doing something in the trades. Because this is, in my opinion, the best kept secret is a skid steer business. And I had a skid steer business, bobcat business, a pumping business for a long time. And now you guys know me as doing custom concrete. But this is what I did first. I started off pumping, but I think the best thing at this point, because the concrete pumps went to 100 grand, plus you need a $50,000-$60,000 truck. In California, I don't see the investment, but for the skid steer business would definitely be the way to go. And if you do go this way, even from the beginning of naming your business, don't use your own name. Use a name that's memorable. A name has a lot of power in it. And don't ever charge hourly. Give a flat price. You can make so much more money. Like this job here, they called me from YouTube, but I'm just demoing it. I'm not pumping it. I'm not setting it up. I'm not pouring it. I started doing a skid steer business again and a concrete service. So I'm into it. I've been laying around not doing it for a long time. So I'm going to go back into it. I have all the equipment for every scenario. I have a little mini to go in a backyard. You guys have seen, I have this medium size case with a 5-foot wheelbase and a 550-pound breaker. And I have an S250 I had for bigger jobs. But if I get really into it, I'll get a bigger skid steer for big commercial stuff or different stuff. And I'm all COD, so I don't do stuff on the fly where they pay me later or charge jobs. And this job, I live in Huntington Beach and my kids live in Brea. So on my way to Brea, Garden Grove is on the way. So I stopped by and bid this job. And there was a big pad in front of the patio. So I bid it for $2,400 just to come and knock it out and go. Take me about 2 hours. So that's about $1,000, $1,200 an hour. And they demoed the piece I was going to use as a skid to get in and out. Because this is beach sand, which is uncharacteristic of Garden Grove. This is like 12, 15 miles from the beach. And this is 3 feet of beach sand. It's skid steer and beach sand is a no-go. You're going to get centered on it, and your tires are just going to dig, and you're going to get stuck. So there was a pad in front of this where I was going to knock out this thick 8-inch patio with wire in it, and then I was going to spin on the pad and go out, load it, come back in, spin on it. But they took it out. And they said, how much cheaper? Because we took the pad out. You guys can see where it was. I said, on the contrary, I got to work twice as hard now because I'm going to have to hand load this. And you're going to have to go get 11 sheets of plywood because I can't get in and out. And I was going to use that pad to get in and out. So they got plywood. They were super cool. His name was Brian and his brother was Steve. They were awesome. Helped me out. But I had to do a lot more hand loading. So there's a lot of unforeseen stuff. You got to look at the terrain, the access. And you'll see a lot of guys, almost everyone posting on YouTube will have like 4 or 5 guys to do this. I'm doing it with a teenage girl, and I'm going to start a business, skid steer business full time. And I make about $20,000-$30,000 a month. And then I'll say, hey, if you guys want me to demo it, I'll come back and pump it. Or if they want me to pour it, I'll pour it. So this is a gateway to so many other jobs, pumping, pouring it, or just demoing, and leaving's fine too. And this was probably done in the 80s, and they encased that water line in concrete. So I just put a zipper around it, because if you put the bit in by that water line, it's going to pinch it and pop it, and you're going to flood the place out, which it's not that big of a deal because you just can sweat it back on there and fix it, turn the water off, and you're on sand, so it's going to absorb it, but you don't want to break a water line. But if you were on clay or really shitty soil, you would have a problem. It would flood it out and you'd just be spinning on it. But with wet clay and any other soil, I can get in and out better than this beach sand. This is 3 feet of beach sand. I almost got stuck in there a couple times before I got the plywood. And then when I got the plywood, I came in, straight out, and spun in the alley. I didn't have that little ramp I was going to spin on. Like I said, they took it out. Look at that transition. That's like Batman. So I'm just mashing through this. This is so easy to do. This slab here against the house, they said connected to the house. So they wanted me to rip a zipper a couple feet off the house, and they're going to saw cut it and take it out because it's connected to the footing. I guess they poured that monolithic with the footing when they did that room addition. And he had grown up in the house, so he knew. So I'm not going to question him. I'm going to take his word for it. So you just got to go as close as you can where they can still rip a saw on it. You don't want to go too close. But the rest of the perimeter, I took it all out. This stuff stick, but with this breaker and setup I have, you can just go right through it. And you got to learn how to bid it by what angles in a game plan. I came and saw this. So I already had a game plan exactly how I was going to do it, but what changed it was when they took the other slab out. And I couldn't pivot and spin and stuff. And when you do these jobs, I'm in Orange County, so I'm in the highest end of anyone you're going to see posting on social media. Where I'm at is the cream of the cream, money-wise and level of work. So every skid steer Bobcat company out here has skid steers, S70s for the backyard and digging pools, because that's all you can get there. Bobcats and cases. They don't have stand-ons. Nobody in their right mind is going to buy a stand-on and start a demo business. You'll never see a guy in Southern California show up to do a demo with a stand-on. That's a landscaping. That's buying the wrong stuff. That's light duty. That's for planting tulips, bringing in mulch. If you got a yard or two and you're a landscaper, you can take it out with that little thing. But you can go across grass. There's uses for it. But as a demo guy and a concrete guy, no, definitely not. That's like not having a pump and starting a Georgia buggy business. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So get the right equipment. It's all about the skid steer with the hammer. When you do a demo business and you're doing it for a living, you're going to come across crazy stuff. You need a cage around you in case you roll it or have a problem. You're not going on a stand-on, and you're not going to do it. Just buy the right equipment is what I'm saying. And $40,000, $50,000 for one of those things is laughable. You can get a used S150 and S series or 763 out of the D series prior to the new ones. The new ones are crap for probably 18 grand for a really nice one. You can get a breaker for 4 to 5. Get a dump trailer used for 7 or 8, and then an F250, and then make friends with 10-wheeler guys or other guys. If you have a lot of material, you can just call in 2 10-wheelers and you can do 5 loads on each one. That's 10 loads you got rid of at $1,000 a load. That's 10 grand a day. And you're just sitting on the job staging it. So there's all kinds of ways to go about it. You don't need the dump truck. You don't need the DOT, the insurance, the registration. You blow the motor up, it's 20 grand, 16 grand to rebuild that thing. You know, you just have your regular truck that you drive, diesel, F250 or 350, a medium-sized skid steer, and you could load anything with this. I was going to bring the S70 and haul it myself. I just wasn't that motivated, so I just called my friend Tony with the 10-wheeler. I broke it and put it in him. And it was a good move that I did because it was one load with what they took out and what they didn't, but I couldn't spin. So I had to hand load a bunch of this crap. You'll see, I do all this with a teenage girl. Me and my daughter are going to be the demo crew. And I'm going to do a lot of lives in my demos and pumps because I'm going to run a regular service. And you'll see how easily I do it by myself and with my daughter with me. I won't have anyone else. It'll just be her and I. This sand, I thought that where the grass grew, I didn't think grass would grow on beach sand. So I thought that side was different soil. And this stuff was imported. It wasn't native, but it was native, which is really weird because he said it was all around this area. And I've dug and done a demo business in Orange County for a couple decades, so I know the soils in most of the neighborhoods I've been in, and I pumped in them. I've seen them, but I didn't expect this. I thought it'd be, 4 or 5 inches of sand, and then down below was native soil, probably clay or something else. But it wasn't wet, so I knew it would be hard. I was going to scrape the sand, throw it to the side, come in, spin, take all this stuff out, just push the sand back where it was. But so be careful what you come across, and don't ever bid it hourly, ever. Like for instance, I made $2,200 on this in a couple hours. If you want to do it hourly with a 4-hour minimum for $400 in the dump, I mean that's like $700. So I don't do anything hourly. I'm not working for somebody. The reason why I'm independent, I'm on my own because I don't want to work on a clock. I don't want to be like, hey, you've been on the phone for an hour and you charge me for 5 hours. I don't want to argue with people, So I just give a flat rate. It is what it is. So you don't have any problems. If you want to go by the load and say it's $1,000 a load for a 10-wheeler, let's just count 1, 2, 3. There's 3,000. Pay the 10-wheeler for the day, load your stuff and go, or get a 14,000 GVW trailer. And if you have a job like this, you can just load it in the dump trailer yourself. See how bad I'm sinking in this stuff? Because the other slab connected right to it. So when when you do this as a living, you'll come across all this stuff. See, I'm stuck as hell right there, and I already know it. But I know I'm going to get out. There's no scenario I can't get out. So I had to do what I had to do, and then I sent him to get the plywood. That's the two brothers right there. They're two cool cats. That's me in the orange right there. So I'm just going to lay some plywood. I'm going to go straight in. Sydney and I raked it all flat. You guys saw it on a live. We did a live on this. So Ladybug and I raked all this because there's all kinds of ruts. And it would just peeled that plywood like butter, like just oatmeal, and shredded it. So we raked the whole backyard flat while they went to go get the plywood. Like 10, 11 sheets, something like that. It's like a 90-degree day. Look at the sky in SoCal. It's so beautiful. But the skid steer business is what nobody's talking about, and it's the lowest investment, the highest money. $250,000 a year, it won't be hard. I'll do like $20,000-$30,000 a month with my daughter and I just doing it. And we'll go live on every one, and we'll come across some difficult jobs that you'll see how I go about it, because I've been up against everything. I've done pools, I've demoed pools, I've done hillsides, I've done everything. So the system, you can assume I know. When I'm a demo guy, I got solid tires. I don't need tracks. I'm not a grading contractor. I don't run air tires. There's my boy Tony with the 10-wheeler. I know when he comes out, if there's hand loading or help, he doesn't say anything. He just jumps and gets down. So I really respect him, and I like him a lot. That's his 10-wheeler there. He has 2 trucks, and his son, I believe, drives the other one. But as far as a business, I think if you go to college, unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, an accountant, I think the average is about $60,000 that a college degree gets you. And I think the average trade, if you're a journeyman, would probably be $80,000 working for somebody minimum. And to go on your own and make $250,000, $300,000 with the Bobcat, the dump trailer, and the breaker is no problem. And I'm going to show you. You're going to see me starting like a brand new channel with the demo and the lives. Everything I'm going to do is going to be live. Because a lot of people say, oh, you must edit stuff out. You never show any mishaps. Or I'm not looking for drama. I've rarely showed myself. I've showed myself, and this was premeditated when I first started, enough for the customer. And, oh, that's the owner. That's Anthony. That's his crew. That's his equipment. Bing, that's West Coast's work. It was all for marketing, not to be a YouTuber. I wasn't bringing in, props, homeless. I wasn't bringing any of that in my job, because it was all about marketing myself. And it was masterful the way I did it. I'm going to show myself now more, because I'm going to be doing a lot of lives. So I'm going to be on the camera, and then in the videos will be business as usual, the way I'm usually shown. It'll show me demo and pumping and my crew, and then the fantastic work that West Coast Custom Concrete. It's really set the standard on all. Whatever Anthony does, you know that you can assume he knows, because he's done this for so many years, what equipment he uses, the pumps he uses. If you want to advance yourself, West Coast pumps everything. To have the right breakers, the right equipment. I see people with pallet forks, and they got every damn attachment but a breaker, because you have to have talent when you break and when you load and when you do this stuff. When you stand on a stand-on, nobody knows, oh, that guy's really good on that stand-on. I mean, I'll put this thing on the front 2 wheels, the back 2 wheels. I'll load it with the back end coming off the ground on a slope, and then drop the arms really quick so it doesn't flip into the truck. You really have to be talented. You got to have balls. The other stuff is pretty gutless stuff. I mean, to have a stand-on and do that, and the prices they're paying for those things. And they always, oh, this is the greatest, this MT100. This thing's amazing. It's only $50,000. And I don't know how they hold a straight face. And then they got 3 guys. They show them breaking it, and you can hear the hammer sounds like a ball being hammer, like it's hollow. And then they fast forward it wide open, and they have 3 guys hand loading it. So I can do it all basically myself. I mean, let's see how I take it, how you get it. You got to know what you're doing. I'm in sand. Come on this with a stand-on in that bucket. I was going to do it with an S70, which I would have easily, but I wanted to call it a 10-wheeler. So if you just pattern yourself after Anthony the way he does it, you'll pretty much know. And don't charge hourly. Do it exactly the way he does it. And you'll know this isn't a sideshow. You can look at people's businesses. Just watch it on YouTube, the concrete guys. You can see who makes money and who doesn't, and who's trying to be a YouTuber and who's not. And you can see if their business is at a loss and they're making all their money on YouTube. Because You're not in the Midwest. You're not somewhere else being a millionaire doing residential concrete with an incompetent crew where who's the main guy underneath the owner that can't even tie a string line. That's a joke. So know what you're watching is what I'm saying, and know who you want to listen to. If you enjoy it and it's entertaining, that's cool. But if you want to learn, watch from the people that know what they're doing. You can look at their business once you're a businessman and you've done it, and you can see exactly who makes money, who doesn't, how much they make, where they live, what they're charging per square foot to demo replace. These guys are getting $10, $12 in the Midwest is high dollar, and they're millionaires. I mean, you don't got to be a genius to figure out they're blowing smoke up your ass. The reality, I'm in the most expensive zip codes in the country, if not the world, against the highest competition. So you can assume the way Anthony's doing this in West Coast, that if you bring this to your area, you're going to explode. For pumping in other states, I would say 100%, they get $800 a load, $1,000 a load, $700 a load. That's viable to buy the pump. But out here, when I bought new pumps and I bought pumps, they were 30 grand. When they went to 40, I bailed out and said, no, this doesn't make sense. I would only buy pumps for like 15 grand used, Olin's, TAs, whatever, and use them and resell them. But in California, I would start a skid steer business because it makes sense. But if you're talking to DOT, the insurance, the registration, I would just use your regular truck and then hire 10-wheelers when you need it for the material and put it in the bid. Because inevitably, you're not paying for it. It's in the bid. The 10-wheeler's in there, And the less you're on the street, the less risk you're taking. When you're hauling heavy loads, you're taking a big risk. It's something to consider. So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. I used to have dump trucks and it worked. And then they shot the diesel fuel to $5 a gallon. They shot the dump fees at $300 a load. It didn't make sense. Then when you add the registration, the maintenance, the tires, the storage, it made no sense to do it. So I got rid of it immediately. The writing was on the wall. The money's not in the trucking anymore. And they're making it very hard for other guys to compete with guys like me. They won't be able to compete with me. What I get the 10-wheelers for, I don't need a bunch of laborers out here with me. So just learn how to run your equipment and be a pro at what you do. If you love what you do, you're going to be very good at it. And for me, I'm not a millionaire by any means, but you couldn't find a richer or happier person. I ride my bike. I'm at the beach, swimming in the water all day, every day. I'm with my kids. I'm doing what I want to do, what makes me rich. So to be a millionaire, I don't know. I'm sure you could doing this, but then it would complicate things and you need 20 employees and all these dump trucks and maintenance and oil on this and registration on that. You keep it simple, make 300 grand a year, and you're with your family and you come home whenever you want and do what you want. That's rich. You're a slave to nothing. You're not punching a clock. You're not answering to anybody. You build a good rapport with a bunch of concrete contractors, that you demo for on a regular basis. Some of these guys pour 2, 3, 4 times a month. You demo it for them, and then you say, hey, man, you want me to pump for you too? And then you come back and pump it. Just like I did before. I'm going to do it all over again. And I'll clear another $30,000 a month with the pumps and the demo, and I'll do my regular concrete. But I don't have to bid against anybody because I have 2 other sources of income. With YouTube money, I have 4 sources of income: the pump, the demo, the YouTube, and my concrete business. So that's what it's about. You need different sources, not just the same pipeline of water. And you can never just count on YouTube if you're making a lot of money, because they changed the algorithms. They changed a lot of stuff. They'll delete your channel for the wrong thing. I don't know. It could happen. So that's just a blessing to get to be able to advertise on here and let people see you. So when you come on here as a marketing, because you got a great opportunity. You can have fun, but if you want to be an influencer, I'm the biggest influencer in the concrete industry. I've influenced so many people that started pump business, started bobcat business. Who else is anyone else influencing? What do they influence you to get a bucket of Home Depot tools and some mag floats? You know what I mean? So follow somebody that's going to get you somewhere. Well, I'm showing them how strong I am. I'm ready to go. Anthony's ready to make some money. And this was in the alley behind the house, so it was great access. At first I got to bring the S70 up the side of the house. And he said, no, I got a barn door in the back. So right there, I'm like, bing, bing, he saved him money. I could bring the case. and just knock this out. So now we're just going to load everything up and get ready to get out of there. This guy was so cool. This was his brother. This guy's lives down the street, but they grew up in this house. This was their childhood home. See that sand once you get in it? You can beat any soil, but you're not going to beat beach sand. No way, because you get centered on it and the tires just spinning it and blow it away like a fan, and there you go. See that breaker's not sitting in my truck straight, excuse me, in my bucket straight. But if you want to get influence, you can do this. You guys belong. People can make money doing this, no problem, 1,000,000%. And you can get concrete contractors, and don't ever be afraid to keep putting money in the marketing. Don't ever stop. I just started doing it again for the Bobcat business, and it's going to blow. I back my tractors in. You could head them in. You could do whatever you want. How do you guys like Ladybug's new editing? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, call Anthony at West Coast Custom Concrete. And I'm going to be doing a live next Friday and Saturday at my house, pouring a sidewalk. You guys will see where West Coast lives in Huntington Beach. We'll have a little barbecue. It'll be fun. Come join us on Friday, and the pour will be on Saturday. I want to thank everyone who tunes in and watches me and has supported me since the beginning. Real recognizes real. And Anthony at West Coast shows the best info, gives mixed designs, gave up everything. A lot of information. I do a lot of consulting, so if you want to call me, I'm a paid consultant. There you go. That's how you make $2,200 in 2 hours. And that's a fact. No one else will actually tell you what they make. I'm not worried about it. I don't mind helping people. There you go. Thank you so much for watching, and check us out next Friday, Saturday on the live. And thanks for watching the Best in the West.